now you've got a real hard time debunking that this is a fake.
Well, yeah. Okay, I agree. You see, most of the people who are targeted, I can tell you this, most of the people who are targeted, there's a reason, at least in the minds of the idiots, and that's what I do call them. I mean, in the minds of the criminals, government criminals, there's a reason. Nobody gets targeted without some kind of reason. And you see, anybody that will tell you, oh, it's a random experimentation and all that, no. The experimentation is long gone, long over. They target somebody because they're a target. I mean, in other words, they're considered in some way a threat, you know, a threat. And also, you have to understand, too, that a lot of this weaponry, which was developed many years ago in R&D, you know, if you check the R&D records, research and development, in some of these defense corporations, this stuff is not just used by the government, it's privately owned. There's all kinds of, they're contracting out to private people, private citizens, and using these people to target other people. And, I mean, that's what makes it so hard to stop or to pin down that it's the, quote, government, because they have a layer of buffers, you know, between the top people who are actually ordering this stuff to happen, the chain of command, and then the people that are actually carrying out, the thugs that are carrying out the operation.
Well, you know what's sick also, and I haven't checked in about a year or two, I admit, but especially when these people were coming on, like the daughters out in Sacramento, California, like Eleanor White and others, you could, I mean, I'm sure you can still go to websites and buy some of this stuff, and just like what that family was experiencing in California, you can actually buy it off the internet and turn it on your neighbors.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, that's sick, but that's
just like you can buy, you know, I remember laughing. This is many years ago. I remember laughing, and it was when I was still inside, and somebody, I had mostly independent, quote, contractor jobs. I was NOC, the NOC, you know, which is non-official cover. But I remember one place that I had a temporary assignment there, and it was basically just a corporation, a place, you know. And the guy, and this is not too long before I got out, but the guy says to me, oh, we're going to go down to the boss of the operation says to me, oh, it was like a CIA front company. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
The guy says to me, oh, we're going to be going down to Spy World in New York City. The company was in Connecticut, like Greenwich, Connecticut, but we're going to be going down to Spy World, and we're going to buy some equipment down there. And I said, well, I won't be going to Spy World. I told him, because I was a straight arrow even then, you know, I said, I'm here to do a specific thing, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to Spy World. And then I eventually told the people that were working for the corporations, okay, that I was there as a, quote, personnel counselor, okay, you know, and so, in other words, the people would come in and talk to me about their problems. And I told the people the truth, and I said, you know, what they're doing here at this corporation is against your rights. And I eventually quit. I said, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. It's unethical. You see, but anybody, whether they're CIA or anybody else, yeah, they have the more sophisticated technology, but anybody, there's big, huge businesses that are raking in the bucks off all this technology that's designed to spy and sabotage and harm people.
And yet it's interesting, isn't it, in this day and age, where people, well, not everybody, but, you know, again, as we were growing up, we always heard, sometimes in cocktail parlance, about, Big Brother and Big Brother. And never, you know, nobody realized it was happening. So now you're in the age of cell phones that can videotape, and we're doing it to ourselves.
Well, yeah. Okay, and that's a good point, Keith. I'll tell you this right now. This is just my personal position. Okay, but I'm a very, very adamant defender of personal privacy. Of course, individual rights too, because personal privacy is a part of individual rights as defined in the Bill of Rights, Amendment 4. You know, And the Supreme Court opinion that was issued about Amendment 4 is a reasonable expectation of privacy. No illegal search and seizure, on and on it goes, you know. But in this society, people are doing it to themselves because the whole thing is designed to make a bunch of citizen spies. Instead of protecting privacy, you know, we got surveillance cameras all over the place. People are documenting every aspect of their personal lives and then, you know, like sending it over the internet. I mean, I think it's a huge mass psychosis of this attitude.
But right now, everybody, well, not every, I got to stop using that collective, but especially young people who have grown up and teased on cell phones, basically,
yes,
love it. They think this is the greatest thing, and truthfully, there's no reason why they should think there's a nefarious end attached to it.
No, because they're uninformed.
No, and again, we probably would have been the same way, but looking now, you know, in the rearview mirror, and what also is to come, obviously, we are surveilling ourselves under the aegis, I guess, or the umbrella of it being convenience, communication, whatever it is.
Yes.
Still in all, everybody's eyes are on everybody else.
Well, you know what, Keith, I can tell you now, I mean, I'm from the old school, and I'm very old-fashioned and conservative in many, many ways, but I can tell you that I have never owned a cell phone. I never will own a cell phone. I know you can triangulate anybody's position, you know, through just carrying a cell phone. I don't have any illusions about privacy on the telephone. They're always on my lines. I can't stop them. You know, I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to stop living my life or communicating with people. But in my case, most of the stuff I say about the government, most of what I expose is already public. I've made it public. So I don't really care what they hear. If they think I'm going to say anything truly sensitive on the phone line, then they're mistaken.
You know, and just what you said before about, well, here's what it reminds me of. When you're talking about Supreme Court legal cases or whatever, I was thinking about one of the justices who I think was really part of the problem, but he gave us a little wink and nod about the way things were going to be, and that was Louis Brandeis, who said, I guess the most cherished right for Americans is the right to be left alone, and that is the very thing that will never happen anymore.
Yeah, and you know what, Keith, that phrase really rings a bell with me. I resonate to that phrase, is because of what I've been saying all these years, you know, and it's the reason I don't have a public email address. It's the reason that, yeah, I'm public. I've gone out there and put out information on radio and print and lectures and all that. But what I always say to people is, all I want out of my life, aside from trying to do the right thing like I'm doing now, exposing information and getting it out to the public, but basically for myself, I just want to be left alone. The government has no right. I mean, they've already pretty much destroyed my life, and I don't say that lightly. They have literally destroyed my property for many years, cars, computers. They've interfered in every aspect of my life. And of course, I worked for them for many years, you know, and it wasn't even something that I chose for myself. But part of the whole idea, the founders of this country, what they had in mind was freedom from tyranny, government tyranny, as you well know, I'm sure, freedom from government tyranny, and that's what the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights is based on. And it's also, in my opinion, a very Christian ethic. I don't mean to offend anybody that's not a Christian, but, you know, it goes along with biblical, you know, ethics and principles.
Barbara, I would even argue, really, and we'll get into this some other time, but honestly, if we had stayed with the Declaration of Independence, we probably would have been better off than the Constitution, honestly.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of, let's not get into all the legal minutia about that, because I'm aware of that
That's
stuff.
right, no problem.
But you know what, though, Keith? I still have to say that I have to describe myself. I mean, I'm well aware that the Constitution has basically been trampled and for many years, and it might as well be non-existent in terms of any